Well, I think it's safe to say it is officially winter here in Alaska. We've switched over our bibs and we're switching over our boots for some outdoor work today. We had hoped to finish off this beautiful greenhouse behind us. We started it earlier in the summer and we took a break from it because there were other pressing matters. And we thought we'll get back to it for sure. Here it is, October, the ground's frozen. This is not our first snow, but I think that this one is going to stick. And we kind of had an epiphany. We realized that we can't actually stretch the plastic or the poly for this greenhouse when it's this cold. And another problem is that we can't actually dig in the ground. We both thought we may still be able to dig a hole and put some posts in for the end walls, but that's not gonna happen. So it's unfortunate that we're gonna have to do this next spring when we actually need the greenhouse the most, but we're gonna press on and we are heading over to the sawmill for some work.
How tall can we cut these? 20 inches tall. One would be there. You're gonna have to do something about this hump here. Might have to cut a little section out.
Guy's got some rot on the end of him.
I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these wood shavings.
We need to burn it or do something with it because it's starting to be a nuisance. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am a huge fan of cookies. Chocolate chip, I guess, would be my favorite one, but unfortunately we're not eating cookies today. We are cutting cookies. Cookies are gonna be a slab of wood that is not cut like we traditionally cut on the sawmill. They're gonna be cut this way, so we're gonna end up with these beautiful little rounds, and we're gonna be building something called a cookie wall inside the seed room, but we need to cut them now. Let them dry out. That way this winter we'll be ready to build. All we've done here is put a 2x8 flat down on the sawmill, and then we've taken these rounds. These are all cut at about 19 to 20 inches. We've screwed them in for the bottom so they're secure. And then we're just gonna start slabbing off pieces of wood. We're going for 1 inch. Let's put a new blade on the sawmill and see how she's cutting today.
Well, I ripped the screw out, so that happened on that one.
Scrap. If I go to 19 now, let's see how it works.
a lot of character on this one.
Well, it worked. We got ourselves some cookies. We're gonna do one more round of them, and we're trying to do different diameter logs, and I guess logs with different characters, so this wall looks just like a collection of just different styles, different sizes, colors, everything of these cookies. This first round, it went good once we got all the logs on there, so it takes a little while to get everything screwed in, everything in place. I didn't have enough screws in. I'm working with some screws that are only 3-inch long. I ran out of my longer ones. And I think another thing that didn't help is we cut our logs 19 to 20 inches tall. The taller they are, the sawmill just wants to like kind of rip them out of the screws. So I think the next round we might go like 17, 16 inches, and I think that'll work a lot better for us. Sawmill's working good for us today. She doesn't seem to mind the cold, but I do, so let's get back to work.
That is an awfully long list of wood that we have to cut. So we're aiming pretty high in these next 2 days, and pretty sure it's late afternoon right now. Feels like we've been getting ready for winter for probably a good 2 months, and that's it. It's really here now. I feel like it just kind of changes what we're able to do going forward. So we want to get this wood cut. We need to do some major organization. I don't think we thought about that too much. Last year we had 14 cords of lumber delivered, and we pretty much went through all of it. There's just a few 20-foot logs behind me, and we had another set of, I think it was 14 cords again, delivered over there. So we've got to get that cut. Eric's working on organization, otherwise it's just madness out here. That's some of the lumber that we've already cut for the garden. Most of what we're doing is just trying to stay ahead, and we want some wood to pull from this winter when we won't be using the sawmill. It's not operable in the middle of winter when it's very cold. That way we can just pull from that stack and we can let it dry in the shop and use it for whatever projects we want. There's a lot of logistics and it's just time consuming. So we'll see what we can get done. It all fit.
Another day out here on the sawmill, and it is the coldest morning we've had all season. It's currently 12 degrees, and our windshield washer fluid that we use as blade lube when it gets cold, which is rated to 25 below, is already starting to freeze for some reason. We did some calculations last night out in the seed room. It looks like we are gonna need some more cookies, or at least we don't want to run short. So we're gonna cut one more round. We gotta screw these down and cut them. These ones are kind of like on the small to medium size. It is winding down out here at the sawmill. There's snow on the ground. We're gonna be shutting things down for the season.
All right.
Yeah.
6 and under. Wow, beautiful. Well, I gotta get all underneath there.
I'll use that piece of wood to scrape it out.
Something else we have to do today is also get the log piles covered up since we're done cutting. And we hoped to do that last year, but never got around to it. So we've got some Durascrim. We picked that up for covering the stuff, that all of our stuff that was outside this summer when we were getting the 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 hut spray foamed and painted. And it's gonna be awesome to have this cover up the wood and just protect it, mainly in the spring months when the snow melts and there's a lot of moisture on the wood. But honestly, we're cutting through these piles so fast that I'm not sure we really need to worry about it too much.
Oh, this grease is cold.
The concrete hasn't looked this good since we did it, huh?
I know, this thing looks good. That about does it for the sawmill. We've got everything greased. I changed the oil not too long ago, so we're good there. We got the blade off. We'll be ready to go for next year after we put the covers back on. My little bottle jack mod that I made for jacking up the sides of the logs that are a little small, like on the tapered end, it worked for the season for us. But throughout the season with these really big, heavy logs, I kind of tweaked it, bent it. I ended up pulling it off. So we might go with the Norwood wood next year. Got to take care of this sawmill. When we first bought it, it was a really nice piece of equipment to have. But up here, with the way we live now, it's a vital piece of equipment to have. She's never looked this good.
I just need a little more on this side and then we're good. I just need a...
A lot of the times when we're working on a project around here, we will decide how much lumber we need. We'll cut it and we'll build with it immediately. This year is going to be a little bit different because a lot of the projects we're working on is going to be projects that we're doing in the winter inside the 𝐻𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐻 hut. And some of them, the wood needs to be dry because we're going to run it through a planer and it looks a lot better when the wood's dried up a little bit. So we've got a lot of lumber that came off the sawmill the past few days. All of this wood is cut at about 13 feet long, and we've got 2x10s. We've got a workbench project for the 𝐻𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐻 hut. We've got 10 of those. These 1x6s I'm sitting on, this is gonna be for interior siding, exterior siding. I think that's about it, but we've got 94 of those cut. 2x4s, those are gonna be for the greenhouse and some other projects inside the hut, like a canning shelf. We've got 34 of those. 2x8s, those are gonna be for garden beds next year. We have 11 of those. We've also got a little over 30 2x6s, which always come in handy. And to store this wood for now, before we bring it into the 𝐻𝐢𝐬𝐻 hut to dry it out, we've got a perfect spot right in front of the sawmill. We've got nice level concrete. We're gonna get it stacked up in sections with some stickers. That way, if we need to get something, easy to just grab it with the tractor and move stuff around.
Over there. We're gonna have one extra, it looks like. center. Perfect.
What an awesome looking stack of lumber. My plan was actually to take this big concrete block we have that weighs like 2,000 pounds and stick it on top, make sure nothing twists, but with our overhang and how much lumber we have, it's not gonna fit in there now. So what we're gonna do with that lumber is as we need it for a project, maybe like a month before, a couple weeks before, we'll bring it into the shop, let it dry up a little bit. We are going to cut some more cookies tonight, but we're gonna do it with the chop saw or the miter saw. We're just gonna do some small ones. We've got a tree picked out that we're gonna cut down for it. But we are starving. Late lunch, early dinner. Let's go make some food.
For dinner, we're having meatloaf, but not just any meatloaf. This is going to be a French onion recipe. So there's going to be Swiss cheese and caramelized onions. That's what we're working on. We're also getting some Brussels sprouts to have on the side, and we have some coleslaw, I think, left over from last night's dinner.
This meatloaf would be awesome on its own right now, but the French onion soup theme, we're gonna continue here. And we've got some pieces of toast, sourdough, we're gonna put down on top, a little bit of Swiss cheese and sharp white cheddar, and then back in the oven. This is gonna be awesome. So that's bear meat in the meatloaf, and we're gonna top it with almost like French onion soup. So this is the caramelized onions Arielle made, and she mixed in some moose bone broth.
I'm really hungry.
Oh yeah, look at that. Have that one, have that one. Look at that toast.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it's so good with the broth in there. Load them up.
Very nice.
Look at that.
It looks like space.
Start stacking them up.